Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. When I had my first baby, people told me that my days of traveling were over, and I refused to believe them. Traveling is one of my biggest passions, and I refused to believe that having a child meant that I had to give up my dreams. She could be a part of them. And I knew it would change the way we traveled, but I didn't care. When she was 3 months, we decided to do a little test trip and take a 12-hour road trip to Rhode Island, and it turned out great. We actually had a good time with the baby. And so when she turned 1, we decided to take a world trip, and we took 7 months to travel the world with her, and it was one of the best experiences we've ever had. And then when my second daughter was born at 5 months, so we just finished this trip, we decided to take the both of them on a trip to Colombia, and we had such a great time. What we've learned basically is that traveling with a child makes travel even better. Yes, there are some difficulties that we didn't have to deal with before, but the joy that we get from it is 100% worth it. So if you decide that you want to take your babies on a trip too, here are some of the realities that might hit you. First, you will move slower. When I traveled before kids, I would pack my itinerary. I would be busy from 7 a.m. to 11, 12, 1, 2 a.m. and just go, go, go. Once you have kids in the mix, you kind of are on their schedule. So for us, it's about 6-ish a.m. to about 7 p.m. Sometimes we can push them a little later. Sometimes we get them up earlier. It just depends on what we're doing, but that's in general what it is like. It's when they're tired, we go to bed. Now that doesn't mean we have to go to sleep, but we put them down, and then instead of going out to the night market, maybe we just grab some beers and pizza and we sit on the terrace and enjoy a night to ourselves overlooking the city. So we don't have to go to bed at 7 p.m., but we don't go out and, go to a bar or go to the festival or go to the night market or something like we used to. So you will also become much less frugal. I used to be a penny pinching traveler. Not that I would spend the very least amount as I possibly could, but in a way I did. I would want to stretch my dollar as far as it could go. I would have rather walked 4 miles than take a $6 taxi. I wouldn't buy snacks at the boardwalk. But now with kids, I look for more ease and comfort. I do what will make sure that my kids are comfortable and in turn make us happier as a unit. You also will just want to see your kids smile more. So that little balloon on the pier that costs €3, you might get it for them because they are really excited about it and really, really want it, and you want to see their face light up. So whereas I would never have bought that in the past, I might buy that now. Now, I don't always buy something for them every time they see something they want. Sometimes we just, can't. But every once in a while, I do want to treat them. But really, in reality, even though you're being not as frugal maybe, they really don't cost all that much extra. 2 or 3 and under. They aren't eating a full plate of meal. Most of the time, I can still just order something for myself and share with my toddler. My baby is still breastfeeding. So I don't really have to worry about that. Yes, sometimes we have to buy a snack every now and then, but for the most part, mealtime isn't more expensive. The tickets that we would normally purchase, most of the time they're free, and if they're not, they're steeply discounted for kids 2 and under. So for the most part, my spending is still 95% on myself, my husband and myself. You will also carry more than you used to. So I used to carry a carry-on bag, and that's it when I traveled. I had 1 bag, that was it. Now we have a little bit more. There's things that you're gonna have to carry that you didn't have to carry before. Diapers, extra clothes, toys for entertainment, in case of emergency medicine, whatever it is, babies and toddlers just have a little bit extra than you're used to having. So really with budget carriers and airlines now changing their business model where they don't even allow carry-ons anyway unless you pay additional, we actually have just started to bring 1 large checked luggage because that ends up being way cheaper anyway, and that's actually provided more hands-free, so we kind of like doing that. We still pack the bare necessities, but we have 1 bag and then a personal item as compared to how I would have traveled previously. But either way you put it, you're still carrying a little bit more than you would have if you didn't have kids. Mealtime. Mealtime can be so frustrating when you're traveling with kids because you can't just put them in their high chair or their seat and they have like a place to be that is their seat when you're eating. No, when we just had Isabel, we would kind of take turns and I would eat and then he would have her and he would eat and I would have her. That worked pretty well for us. She learned how to eat new things that way. She was one when we took her. This last trip was a new dynamic with two kids. So we kind of had Isabel that we had to help kind of still eat. She was only 2, turning 3, so still kind of had to help her. And then you have the little one, 5 months, who is grabbing everything. We have nicknamed her the Destroyer because she is just like crazy everywhere. But what we did was we kind of put her in a stroller, our little umbrella stroller that we had for the older one. But when she was eating, we would put the littler one in that so that she was away from us. She was off the table. She wasn't knocking over drinks. She wasn't trying to bat our food from our hands. She was kind of entertained in the stroller. And then Isabel kind of was pretty good at eating herself and we'd help her every now and then. But mealtime can be frustrating and you have to find ways to kind of make it simpler for you. Another thing you should know is that people are going to talk about you. When you're traveling with kids, it's really not that normal. It is, but it isn't. So people are going to talk about you and it might be positive and it might be negative. We've had very positive experiences that people are like, oh my gosh, you're traveling with your kids. That's so cool. What do you think? Is it hard? Go, you guys. You're so cool. That's so awesome. Here, let me give your baby a treat. I want to give them an ice cream. Here's a balloon. Whatever it is, there's been some people that just love that we have kids. On the other hand, there are some people that hate it. We have literally been sitting next to someone on the bus who was like, really sucks to have kids. I would hate to bring my kids traveling. You know, things like that. Well, I'm sitting right here and obviously I like it because I'm doing it, but you have to brush those things off. You're going to get those negative experiences. You're going to be sitting next to someone on a plane who sees a kid and thinks they're going to ruin their whole flight. So you have to know that going in, and as long as you know it and you're prepared for it and you can brush it off your shoulder, you should be fine. The next thing that you should know is that your baby will adjust. Going international or going national but a long distance where the time changes might be a little bit nerve-wracking because your baby is going to be completely thrown off schedule. They are going to be awake at hours that they're not supposed to be. They don't just intuitively know that, oh, we're in a new time zone, we need to change our sleeping pattern, and it can be frustrating. But just know that they will adjust eventually. It usually takes, 3 days or so for them to get on a good balanced routine again, but they will. And if you want some specific tips on conquering baby or toddler jet lag, I'll link a post in the description box because I have a post on my site that kind of goes into that in detail. But they'll adjust to more than just sleep schedules. They'll also adjust to like the food that's in an area. I mean, when we were in Asia, Isabel had never at 1 year old, had a soup with noodles before. And like the second time that she had a bowl of soup with noodles, she was slurping them. We were cutting them with scissors so she could slurp them better. It was really cool. I mean, she learned to eat something that she probably wouldn't have back home. You're also going to start changing diapers in places you didn't dream of without tools that you thought you needed. So be prepared for that depending on where you're going. Some countries are better equipped with baby needs than others, but you might be in a place that doesn't have changing tables, that doesn't have trash cans, that doesn't have whatever you might need to change your baby. Could be on a bus, could be in a park, could be at the back of church. I mean, it could be anywhere. It could even be on your lap, which I'm sure you've done at home 1 or 2 times anyway, but you get my drift. Diaper changing is going to happen in all sorts of ways. The last thing I'll tell you is that your baby's personality will grow so much. When we took our world trip, Isabel's personality just blossomed. She was seeing so many people. She was learning to be open. She was learning to be social. She saw different kinds of animals than she'd seen before, different types of food. She saw more probably in the first week or two of our trip through South Asia than she did her whole lifetime back at home. She wanted to play with more kids, try new food. She wanted to talk more. I mean, she just grew into this being that was so cool to watch as a parent. Traveling with your kids is such a cool experience. I hope you get to do it one time in your life, at least, hopefully many times in your life. Have you done it already? Do you travel with your kids? What are your best tips? I'd love to see them in the comments below. That's all I have for today. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. See you next time.